It is stated that Amir al-Sunnat, Allama Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Attar Qadri, may Allah Azza wa Jal keep his shadow upon us, the founder of Dawateislami, for whom, if it was not him, I would not be sitting here today and this channel would not be broadcast as well. He wrote a book called Neki Ki Dawat, Call to Righteousness. And on page 290 of that book, he writes that a strange odor began to be smelt in the area of Punjab. After much searching, the locals found that the source of the bad odor was coming from a particular house that was closed. Consequently, they called the police and said that there's a horrible smell coming from this house. And when the police broke the door and went into the house, they found that there was a rotting body. A rotting body was there, and insects were climbing all over the body. It'd been there for some time, and as a result of that, the smell had come out of the house. And when people saw the state of the rotting body, that insects were there, it is said that some people, they immediately were unconscious out of fear of what they had seen. Amir al-Sunnat then goes on to state that after some investigation, they found out that this young man had come to that locality to work. He didn't have any family with him, and he'd rented that house, and he was on his own. And what had happened was he got into a crowd of gamblers, and he started gambling. And one day he won a lot of money. Basically, he won all the money of all the people that were gambling. He won all of their money. Now, the people that were gambling, they were not happy that he had taken all their money from him. So they went into his house, and they tied a rope around his neck and electrocuted him to death and took all of the money. They left his body as it was. They left it unshrouded, and they did not bury the body. And subsequently, what happened was we saw that the body rotted and the smell came out of the house. That's just one example. That's just one example of what can happen if you have a bad company, if you associate with those people. And in that particular example, we were talking about gambling as well. And sometimes these evil friends that you think are your friends, I think that's the problem with you, we do not know what a friend really is. And if we can understand what a friend really is, then inshallah we can make decisions going forward. A friend, viewers of the channel, is someone, like I said earlier on, is someone that when you see that person, it reminds you of what you should be doing. It reminds you of what you should not be doing. It reminds me to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. Gosh, that we have them friends that when you see them people, you look at me and think, you know what? I need to go to the masjid now. He's reminded me that I need to remind myself 5 times a day. He's reminded me that I need to adopt the Sunnah and follow the Sunnah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Them are the friends that we have. Now, if you just pause for a moment and think to yourself that who are your friends? What did they remind you of? Did they remind you of the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal? Do they remind you to read your namaz 5 times a day? Do they remind you to earn an halal income? If they do, then marhaba, excellent. But if we are honest with ourselves, in the majority of the cases, that is not true as well.
We love Madani Channel. We love Madani Channel. We love Madani Channel.